Hello and welcome to LFC Focus. It is post-match reaction show time after Liverpool have just drawn a blank. They've drawn 0-0 against Bayern Munich at Anfield in the first leg of our Champions League round of 16 tie in a game that was a little bit weird, I think it's fair to say. I think what you take from that match entirely depends on whether you are a glass half full or a glass half empty person. Me personally, I'm always an optimist. I'm always glass half full. So I'm reasonably pleased with the result and the performance. I think it was very much borderline, a 0-0. I'll talk about it later on in the video, but there's certainly, you can say a lot about how we've got something to play for going into the Allianz, but you can also say that that is the kind of result that Bayern Munich will be happy with as well. The performance as well, there were times where we were fantastic, times where we were a little bit dire, to be honest. And like I said, it all depends on how you view the game, how you view the world in general, whether or not you are happy with that game. I mean, happy's maybe a little bit of a stretch, but content certainly, or whether you think there are plenty of things for this Liverpool team to improve on between now and that second leg in, I believe it's 3 weeks' time. But yeah, I am going to start off with the positives, because why on earth would you want to start off with the negatives? You want to talk about what made us happy about that game. And first things first, Naby Keita. Tonight felt like the night where he finally remembered who Naby Keita is. He finally remembered the kind of player that Liverpool bought, the kind of player we all thought we were getting, the lad who just picks up the ball in the tightest of spaces with three players around him and is capable of just spinning, turning, taking a couple of touches and is suddenly steaming away in on goal with plenty of options in front of him. That's the Naby Keita we thought we were getting, the Naby Keita we craved, that we thought was going to be the final missing piece of the jigsaw in this Liverpool side, and it felt like tonight was the night he finally arrived. And I'm sure I've said that plenty of times on this channel already. I've said Naby Keita has arrived, because there have been a couple of games now where he felt like he's stepped up a gear, where it felt like he's starting to fit in. I think this was the game tonight where, aside from him getting a goal or an assist or something like that, or making a major contribution, a game-changing contribution, in terms of his overall performance over the entire, 75 minutes or something like that he was on the pitch, I feel like this was certainly Naby Keita's best performance in Liverpool shirt, and probably one of his most influential as well. I thought just everything he did was fantastic. The kind of things that a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago would not have come off, and people would have said, he doesn't look confident, he doesn't look sharp enough, is he ready for the Premier League? He was doing those kind of things again tonight, only this time they were coming off. Like I said, the cheeky passes, the dribbly runs. There's a moment where he just waltzes into the box about midway through the first half, and listen, it doesn't come off again. The final shot or the final ball isn't quite there. I think that's going to come now. I think he's at the stage where everything else is in place, that is now the only thing missing from his game, whereas beforehand you felt like a goal was needed to help him kick on in all other aspects of his game. You felt like a goal was what was needed to bring out that dribbling, that passing, those driving runs, that intelligence, that reading of the game. Now all of that is there, and the end product is the only thing that's missing. I thought it might have come tonight, sadly it didn't, but you know what, Naby, if you wanted to wait until Old Trafford at the weekend, that is absolutely fine by me. So a fantastic performance from Naby Keita. Another midfielder I want to talk about is Jordan Henderson. I thought he was sublime tonight. All the Jordan Henderson haters are going to be crawling under a rock and not coming out for weeks after that game. That was just the complete number 6 performance. Everything he did was brilliant. Going forward, he was spraying passes, he was finding players left, right and centre in space and getting the ball moving and creating attacks and creating space and pulling that Bayern defence from side to side. That ball to Mohamed Salah is absolutely sublime. That's the kind of ball that we've seen Fabinho make and wax lyrical about it. The kind of ball we know Keita's got in his locker and we talk about it all day long. Jordan Henderson has shown he can do it as well, and it's just a shame that Mohamed Salah does not finish that chance off, because it would have been an absolutely phenomenal assist. At the other end of the pitch as well, defensively, there was a moment, I think again midway through the first half, where the entire defence just seems to just cack its pants, completely lose touch of what's going on, and Jordan Henderson was there to make an absolutely vital block about 10 yards away from goal. So like I said, the complete number 6 performance. Defensively, he did everything you want. Offensively, he did all you need from a number 6 as well. And just the way he'd snap into tackles, the way he'd win the ball back, win it quickly, and win it in such a way that actually sets us on attacks again was fantastic. So Jordan Henderson, another brilliant performer. And Gini Wijnaldum as well. I think the midfield was definitely the standout for Liverpool in this game, and probably the reason we ended up not losing, because the attack probably should have won us the game. The defence, looking at the way they played, could have ended up losing us the game, but the midfield just mopped up. The amount of times Gini Van Aldum and Henderson and KEITA as well were dropping in and helping out those fullbacks when they got caught far too high up the pitch. You just could not end up counting it on 5 hands or whatever by the end of the game, because there were that many times that they were mopping up danger. And like I said, that block from Henderson was absolutely fantastic as well. So the midfield were brilliant. Another player I want to single out for praise, incidentally, another midfielder, this time one that was playing out of position. Fabinho, I thought, just did his job tonight, and that is all you can ask for from a central defensive mid or even a number 8, a stretch playing at centre-back. I thought he never looked phased. He maybe had a better game of the 2 centre-backs alongside Joel Matip, and there were just a couple of moments where he was stretched, where he was asked questions, where he's put in a situation where it's like, okay, you know, you've done the basics fine. Can you do the advanced skills? Can you do the things that really you'd only expect a centre-back to do? And as a midfielder playing out of position, you'd probably let him get away with not doing it, but he still flies into those tackles. He shackles Robert Lewandowski. He makes a crucial tackle in the box where he could have given away a penalty. He could have shied away from making a tackle and let Lewandowski get the shot off, but no, he slides in that second half. He makes a crucial tackle. He stops Bayern getting the all-important away goal. So I thought Fabinho, you know, he's not going to play that many games in that position. I would say we missed him in midfield, but I don't think we did. I think the midfield was absolutely fine and probably wouldn't have played that much better at all if Fabinho had been playing in the place of any of those 3 players who played there tonight. So I wouldn't say we missed him there. So I think he's just an absolutely fantastic option to have in an emergency like we were faced with tonight. You know, when you are up against a crisis situation, to be able to call on a player like him who can put in those kind of performances against, let's not forget, some fantastic players. You know, Lewandowski is widely regarded as one of, if not the best centre-forward in European football. Kingsley Coman and Gnabry were absolutely on it tonight. They are both absolute demons from the wing, and Fabinho dealt with everything that was thrown at him absolutely brilliantly. So a great performance from him and the other 3 midfielders that were on the pitch. The negatives then, the defence. Yeah, let's have a little bit of a word about the defence. I'm not going to dwell on it for too long because, like I said, I don't want to dwell on the negatives. I don't think it was a hugely poor night, but at times they looked all over the shop. You know, Robertson, I think, certainly it looked like that threat of a yellow card ruling him out of the second leg was weighing on his mind. I don't think you can deny that. There were just moments where he would have snapped into a tackle, he would have gone in to make the block or something like that, but he just shied away and he allowed Gnabry to get at him. He allowed Gnabry to cause problems because I think he was just wary at all times of that potential yellow card, especially given the referee tonight, who I think it's fair to say was giving absolutely everything. You could not make contact anywhere on the pitch and without someone going down and without the referee blowing up for a free kick and potentially giving a needless yellow card as well. So I think he was justified in being a little bit cautious given the situation we had with the referee, and I'm glad that he came away without a yellow card. Obviously, he's going to be walking that tightrope again in the second leg because the last thing we need is a Champions League quarter-final with Alberto Moreno at left back. But just not a great performance from him in general, and that yellow card thing obviously doesn't justify the fact that going forward, I think at times his passing was fine, and at other times it was totally wayward. I thought Joel Matip, fine most of the time, but the odd brain fart, the odd blip that normally, you know, people would go mad if Dejan Lovren did it, but because it's Joel Matip, they kind of overlook it. But at the end of the day, he's the 4th choice centre-back. I'm not going to start crying my eyes out over the fact that against Bayern Munich, he's having the odd moment where he looks slightly under pressure. And then Trent, good for the first half. I really like what he was doing, especially going forward. But I think in the second half, he could have done a little bit more. And the throw-ins, I mean, just take them quicker, lads. Just chuck them to anybody. You don't need to play the perfect throw-in. Just get the ball back on the pitch, because there were 20-second stretches of that game where all we had to watch was Trent Alexander-Arnold just going, and it was getting a little bit silly at the end of the day. But not an awful performance by any means, but I thought at times, and Alisson Becker as well, just that low pass into midfield, Bayern latched onto that and were like, yeah, this is something he likes to do and we're going to take advantage of it. Thankfully, he essentially just cut that out completely in the second half. I think he realised that Bayern were looking to capitalise on that. So instead, he would just play the short passes to the centre-backs or just completely go long. So I'm glad that he adapted, because if he hadn't, they could have got a goal from one of those situations in the second half. The attack as well, just could not hit a barn door for some reason. I think in terms of positives, at times they clicked really nicely. I think that last 10 or 15 minutes of the first half, I really, really liked. It felt like we'd got over the initial slump that seemed to be because of the 10-day break that we'd been through. Unfortunately, we slipped back into it in the second half, which was a similar situation after the very long break we had to endure before the game against Leicester. So it's kind of understandable. You know, we've seen this before, and hopefully we do snap back into gear for the next game. But yeah, just never quite clicked for extended periods of time, and when they did, it did almost feel like it was by accident at times. Most of the really clear-cut chances we made, especially the ones that Sadio Mane was just blamming high and wide over and over again, especially in that first half, was just coming out of sheer blind luck at times. You know, rebounds from shots and wayward passes that somehow found their way into the box, and it's just a little bit disappointing, especially with Sadio, that he could not put them away. But you know what? With Sadio Mane, you've got to take that with the worldies. You know, like with Naby Keita, I'm hoping he's just reserving it all for Old Trafford at the weekend. And if he is, then absolutely fine. Go ahead, Sadio. I've got absolutely no problems with that. But it did just feel like tonight was not his night. And he was always aiming for the absolute perfect shot. And every single time, it just wasn't coming off at all. So disappointing that we couldn't finish our chances. I think it was something like 13 shots we had and only one on target, which is a little bit of a worry. But again, if you can put that down to, you know, the whole issue of the 10-day break and the fact that the players aren't quite sharp, and at times it came together and at times the final ball just wasn't there at all. They were making the wrong decisions, or the passes just weren't of a high enough quality. Hopefully that is all because of the 10-day break, and by the time we get to Old Trafford on Sunday afternoon, everything is resolved and we will play absolutely brilliantly. But yeah, like I said, it's glass half full, glass half empty. If you are a miserable git, then yeah, you're probably annoyed about the performance and the result. If you're like me and you're an optimist and you love to see the good in the world and you believe in what this Liverpool side will be capable of doing at the Allianz Arena, then I wouldn't have taken a 0-0 at kickoff. I certainly wouldn't have done, but I am content with it now. I'd certainly back us to get goals at the Allianz Arena and cause problems. And at the end of the day, if we're going out to Bayern, it'll probably be by a narrow scoreline, and if we win the Premier League anyway, then it's not the worst season in the world. So yeah, that is all for today's video. Thank you guys very, very much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on the performance and the result down in the comments below. Apart from that, don't forget to hit that like button down there if you're new around here. Hit that subscribe button there if you're new around here. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Check out some of the other videos as well. Don't forget to follow at LFC Focus TV on Twitter, and I'll be back soon with the pre-match content for that game at Old Trafford on Sunday. Until then, bye for now.